Hello everyone, welcome to my talk, Staying Sane, Doing Bug Bounties by me, zseano. I just want to say thank you to the event organisers for inviting me to do this talk. It's much appreciated, and thank you for doing great things for the community. So, who am I? My name is zseano. I'm a self-taught hacker, and I started Bug Bounties in 2016, and I actually managed to reach rank 2 on a bug bounty platform, Bug Crowd, from just targeting one program. Now, I'm a strong believer that anyone can do this and replicate what other people are doing in bug bounties, and this is exactly how it started for me, believe it or not. I heard of bug bounties in 2016, saw people at the top of the leaderboards getting paid real money for vulnerabilities on these websites, bug bounty programs, and I just thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So I set about that journey. I set my goal of getting my first bounty, understanding how things work, and the main thing is being consistent. Especially if you're doing bug bounties full time or you're looking to do bug bounties full time, stay consistent, treat it like a job. You're looking every single day. Whereas if you're doing it more as just a hobby, then that's where you're kind of going to look more for the tools, automating, looking for things like that, because you're not going to have too much time to dive in really deep, because sometimes it might take you a good week before you actually understand how the web application works, parameters and things like that. So that's also why I believe sticking to the same program is key, because the more you look at it, the more you can learn. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience during bug bounties and giving you some tips and advice on basically staying sane. So in a nutshell, because I'm presuming a lot of you listen to this and know what bug bounties are, but if you don't, obviously you'll learn something from this. But very quickly, I mean, you spend days researching what's out there and you finally find what you believe is a vulnerability. So you report it, you're very happy, you've written it up, and you're thinking, yes, hopefully this is a vulnerability. And then you receive a bounty. The company's really happy. You responsibly disclosed it to them. Yes, you was the first person to report it. They didn't know about it. They're going to get it fixed. You've got a bounty. That's bug bounties in a nutshell. Is it that simple though? So some things that you, issues you may face doing bug bounties are duplicates. So this may be from fellow hackers, or it may be what's called an internal dupe. Now, if you're duplicating against a fellow hacker, then usually you'll be invited to the original report, so you can see, okay, what you duped against. Now, in some cases you won't. However, it's always good to find out what date at least it was submitted, because if you've duped against a bug that was submitted 9-10 months ago, and it still hasn't been fixed and it has impact, like let's say for example it's an idle where you can query users information or something like that, and it hasn't been fixed, then if this is a new program you're looking at, then instantly you can say, well, do I actually kind of want to carry on this? Is all the bugs I'm going to find just going to be a dupe? So already just from a little bit of information of duping, yeah, it's not fun you've duped, but if you can find out the date and things like that, then you can make a decision as to whether you want to do it or not, really. An internal dupe is, well, if you've, I mean, I do have more information on these. I'm just explaining a little bit more about things. But yeah, internal dupe is, the company says they found it themselves from red team exercises or whatever they've been doing. They found it themselves. So working as intended. So you've reported, usually it's some sort of business logic vulnerability where you can do something that you're not meant to do, that, well, you don't believe you're meant to be able to do it on this user account, but the company's investigated and they say, nah, it's okay, working as intended. And you read that and you're thinking, really? Me sat here as a hacker, I feel like I can actually take advantage of this, and you'd be quite annoyed. And yeah, it has some business impact. Usually these type of vulnerabilities that are working as intended have some sort of business impact, and the business is fine for that. No security impact as such. But company always has the final say, and I'm going to give some advice on potentially how you can help yourself with that. And lastly, the reporting process. So no communication, months since you last heard something, severity lowered without, and again, no communication why they lowered it. You get a lower payout than you expected, even though they advertised like 3,000 for a P1, but then they only give you 1,500. and you then have to question why, and you then have to wait for them to give you a reply. And yeah, it can grow on you a little bit. However, take the bad with the good with the bad, and it is possible to create opportunities for yourself and bug bounties, because you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You pick and choose your own hours when you want to work and things like that, and the payouts can be very, very generous. But how do we deal? We want to be able to find bugs, report them, be happy. So how do we deal with all three of these and actually stay sane doing it, basically, doing bug bounties? So, just because you were duped, right, it doesn't mean you should give up. As I was mentioning earlier, find out the date. Date will be key. So if it's something that was recently duped, like recently found, like a few days, then tough luck. You was just a few days late. Is that because you're not doing it full time? You have other commitments and things like that, whereas other people are at their computers all the time and things like that. Then consider, okay, if they're all looking there, change the mindset. And this leads to me on saying as well, was it a fairly obvious finding? Before I go on to that though, if it was a dupe that was from a very long time ago, then you should question whether you want to continue on that. But if it was a fairly obvious finding and it was from recent or whatever, it's a new program, then you've got to change the mindset and be like, okay, well, lots of people have obviously gone through this program, tested for IDORs, XSS and things like that. Consider what bugs potentially people haven't been testing for, and look through there. But that's where I then think, and this is why I like wide scope programs with lots in scope and lots. They're a big company. Bigger the company, the better, because the bigger the company, they're more likely to have mobile apps and things like that for user experience. I mean, if you've seen the old BlizzCon where they announced Diablo on mobile and everyone was like, really? And he was like, everyone has phones, don't they? So I always then think, if I've duped on a bug that's on their desktop site, my mindset is, okay, I'm going to stop looking at their desktop site. I'm going to pick up my iPhone, look at what apps are in scope and download their mobile apps and see what's different and see how the mobile app connects to the desktop app. I mean, if they have, for example, like community posts that obviously you can see on mobile and desktop, then I want to see how different they are and how things work differently, basically. Or are they the same? Are they literally just rendering a mobile website in this app? And go from there, really. But if it is 6 months plus, then it's, in my opinion, it is worth just moving on. Then again, if you've spent lots of time in this program, you have experience and it's just a one-off type thing, then yeah. But if it's a new program and you're just starting bug bounties and things like that, and it's programs that don't bother to fix vulnerabilities really aren't fun. So in my opinion, it's not worth spending too much time on there. Whereas again, if it's a freshly discovered issue, new scope and things like that, then keep hunting. Just try to change the mindset. Not only that, but the bug bounty community is so welcoming. Like, everyone's friends, everyone's friendly, they want to talk to you, share ideas and things like that. So why not reach out to other hackers, potentially of who you've duped against, other hackers you see on the program, see what they're talking about on Twitter. Maybe they've done a write-up on some issues that might help you on this program, things like that. There's so much information that you need to gather yourself and do yourself to actually make bug bounties work successfully, in my opinion. You can't just wait. You can't just do some capture the flags, build your rep and expect to just receive the best invites as such. You've kind of got to network. Network is, I've put there, network is important in bug bounties. You need to talk to some researchers, join the Discord, see where people are hunting, how people are, what their experience are like on things. Because you might dupe on a bug and they might, you reach out to this hacker and they say, yeah, man, I duped on so many bugs. I got lucky with that one. It's not worth it. And suddenly, okay, you're going to move on. But if somebody told me that, I'd say, okay, maybe I'll come back to that in a little bit and yeah, go from there. So what about when a company closes your issue as working as intended? So we've had it all happen to us at one point, or if you haven't, then you will do it at some point. It's usually, okay, I mentioned it earlier, it's usually where you've found some sort of business logic issue where, you've got some sort of user permission and you can generate some revenue that you're not meant to, but the company says it's fine. We're not going to bother fixing this because we can see if there's any abuse when people try to withdraw this money to a bank account. If they try to withdraw lots of money, then yeah, no, it's bad. But then you start thinking yourself from like the hacker mindset and you think, well, if I've got an issue where I can generate free money, for example, and the company says, okay, they'll make sure they'll check for large amounts, wouldn't the hacker just spread it across lots of different accounts? But yeah, they're interesting cases, and hopefully you don't come across them too often. You may care, honestly, about making the internet a secure place, and this is why the companies own this bug bounty programs. But in all honesty, not all companies are on the same page, and not all of them are running bug bounty programs for the correct reasons. Some of them have seen, yeah, okay, let's open one. It's something to tick off the checklist. We're running a bug bounty program. Look, we're working, we take security seriously, but in reality you've only actually got like 2 people who are managing things behind the scenes, and yeah, they don't potentially have the time or the mind, they don't actually know security too well, and yeah, you potentially, things can go wrong. Now in this situation, you see it on Twitter sometimes, where people have gone to Twitter. I've done it myself in the past, and again, this is why I wish I knew what I know now and look back and things. It's not good to go straight to Twitter, in my opinion, and kind of lose your cool. So first of all, you should always go to the platform and try and resolve it professionally. So request mediation, contact support, explain why you believe it is an issue, and see it from their perspective. You need to see bug bounty platforms as, so I've seen Tommy, Doggy G has started his bug bounty union. However, you need to kind of see bug bounty platform support as the union. So you've obviously, this isn't the case if it's a managed program. So if you've reported it to a managed program, which is managed by the platform, then it's a different case, but I'll mention that in a little bit. But if it's a case where the company's managing it themselves, but they are on this bug bounty platform and you believe it is an issue, then explain to the platform why you believe it is an issue. Because the people at these bug bounty platforms, they're hackers just like you. And there are so many talented people working at these companies, right? And they can get your issues seen by the right people. They can reproduce things. They can look into the report. So send off an email, send off some messages and say, hey, I believe this is an issue. Explain your reasoning and try and work things out professionally. Now, when it comes to going to Twitter, this is where things can get a little bit complicated as such. So you've potentially found an issue that they won't fix because it's working as intended. So you want to write about it. I've wanted to do it in the past. You feel like, okay, well, it's not an issue, but I feel like it's a cool issue. I want to write about it, but you're not allowed. Now, this is where things can get a little bit odd as such, because obviously the company has said, no, you can't disclose it because you've reported it to us, even though they've said it's not potentially an issue. And then the platform obviously has to decide, usually with the company, if they don't want disclosure. So then you can feel like the platform is letting you down. Now, this is where you just need to see it for the way it is, right? With companies running bug bounty programs, you've got security teams who have had to go to lawyers and people way above them who have had to get approval for a lot of this, right? And when you look at scope and when you look at what they've approved and payouts, they've had to get approval for a lot of it. Honestly, it's taken a lot for a lot of these companies to get things going. Same with platforms. So just remain calm. You've explained your issue, but honestly, you just need to take it on the chin and just move on, because you don't kind of want to burn bridges and start, you know what I mean, causing issues and things for that, because networking is very important in bug bounties, like especially if you're relying on it for income. So I've heard of some platforms, if they feel that some researchers are are considered trouble from what they've seen on Twitter, then they may add you to some sort of what's called a shadow ban list, where you won't actually receive any invites. And yeah, they don't want you to succeed on their platform as such. They kind of push you out as such. So yes, it can suck. It really does suck. You've reported what you feel is an issue, but just take it on the chin. It is what it is, because the good times outweigh the bad times in bug bounties. Trust me. Just take a break. It is what it is. Move on. Potentially, if you want to, find a different program. But just remember, the people working at bug bounty platforms, they're there for you, okay? So work with them professionally, talk with them, and try and resolve things. So I just need to have a little drink. So, you've been waiting months for your issue to be resolved, and you're still waiting to get paid. Now, if you're relying on bug bounties purely for income, so this isn't a side hobby, it's literally you've gone full time, then it's honestly probably time to move on, because 3 months is a long time to get a payout. Now, in some cases, yes, the payout will be worth it. I mean, if you look at Sam Curry's post with Apple, they waited a long time, but the payout was worth it. That's where, if you read actually my methodology on bugbountyhunter.com/zseano, then you'll see I mention risk versus reward ratio. So with bug bounties, you're the boss. You choose the time, you choose when you can hack, who you hack on. It's up to you to kind of make that decision. There is honestly no holy grail to finding a good bounty program. It's all about what you enjoy hacking on. Literally, you want to be able to feel like, even if you're doing it as a part-time job, a hobby, you want to feel like, I can't wait to finish work. You've got no other commitments. I just want to find out more about this website, the web assets they've got, what's out on the website. You're just eager to hack on it. Now, this might not necessarily be bug bounties. Potentially, you want to hack on some VDPs and things like that. But obviously, with this talk being about bug bounties, the only time I recommend hacking on VDPs is to practice, or if you're wanting to literally, you're enjoyable about the scope. And I mean, governments, for example, government scopes really, they run VDPs usually, but it's so interesting. Do you know what I mean? You're able to legally sit here at home and try and find vulnerabilities, and they're going to thank you for it. You've got somebody working. I mean, the Department of Defense, US Department of Defense, you've got somebody working at the Department of Defense thanking you for helping them. And do you know what I mean? It's nice. It's a nice feeling. I get it. That's entirely up to you. But the one thing is, you have to take everything as a learning experience. Yes, you're going to report some bugs to bug bounty programs that take months to pay, dupes, etc., but it's all a learning experience. You'll find your balance the more you do it. If you literally try it for a month and think, no, I'm not able to do it, then, do you know what I mean? That's the results are going to show. Whereas if you're consistent and continue trying it and take everything as a learning experience, it will make you grow, and you'll soon be able to find a program you love. Trust me, I've done it before. I've been through so many bad programs while hunting. They've just not bothered responding to me and things like that. The payouts haven't been what I've been expecting. So, but I've then found programs which I've loved hacking on. The scope is amazing and it's great. So don't let the bad times stop you from continuing bug bounties. You might have had a few bad experiences, but there's thousands of programs out there. There's multiple bug bounty platforms out there now as well. Carry on doing what you love doing, because I actually almost give it up because I don't know, I felt like, I don't know, I got pushed out a bit because of things that happened, and I don't know. And honestly, I don't want people to go through that same situation. So just remember, even if you do have a bad experience, it is what it is. Try and resolve it professionally. Remain calm, and just remember, there's many more programs out there. So, my tips and advice. Remember, you don't get hired to do bug bounties. You don't have to have an interview. You don't have to have qualifications, certificates, nothing. You can start right now. If you listening to this, you've never done bug bounties, as long as you understand how to hack and you understand websites and website security, OWASP top 10, you know the common tools being used, so Burp Suite, Zap Proxy tool, things like that, Fiddler, and you understand how to monitor requests, and ideally you do want a basic understanding around programming and how the mindset of a developer works. You don't necessarily need to understand coding, but imagine this. So a developer has been tasked to design a feature by this company, and it's to feature a new dog on your profile. So the feature he has to design has to handle uploading a photo, adding it to this user profile, and things like that. So get a little notepad and consider all of these, what I've just mentioned, and consider what would a developer think about to make it security minded. What do you know what I mean? How are they going to validate what I'm uploading? How are they going to validate what user profile I'm adding it to, and things like that? So you don't have to understand the coding, but you've got to consider what the developer may not have thought of. you're the boss when you do bug bounties. How much you want to learn, what you want to hack on, how much you want to hack, and things like that is entirely up to you. You choose the hours. Honestly, bug bounties can be tough, but it can also be very rewarding. So literally, you can go months without pay, because I've had it before where I'm having a bit of a rough time in bug bounties because I just can't find a program I'm looking at. I'm just dipping my feet in a few little programs, seeing what's what. I'm trying some external programs, because I haven't mentioned actually a little bit about external programs, because it's not just about bug bounty platforms. However, one thing with bug bounty platforms is if you run into issues, obviously, like I say, you've got them to have your back. But one thing to mention is there are lots of external programs out there, and yeah, they're worth looking at. I don't want this talk to feel like it's just all about bug bounty platforms, obviously. But yeah, so like I say, you may stumble upon literally a nice paying programs here, and with the payouts that some people receive for crits, right? I mean, 20k. I mean, Grammarly has 100k payout right now, do they not? And if cryptocurrency is your thing, then Immunify, they paid $1 million for one bug. I mean, cryptocurrency is completely new, and blockchain technology, I mean, it's not new in the sense, but it's new in the sense that people are actually getting their head around how things work and looking for vulnerabilities and things like that, and more people are getting interested and involved. So it's not a case of you need to find something every single day, because literally that person that got that $1 million bounty, he's probably, I mean, he's not doing it for a job. That's where it becomes more of a hobby, and he might continue looking for issues, but he's doing it because he enjoys it. And that's what bug bounties over time can actually become. And that's why you'll find a lot of hunters have actually gone and got jobs, because they don't want to just keep looking for programs and things like that, because it can be frustrating but rewarding. So just take each day as it comes. Make sure you're always setting goals, writing notes and things like that, but make sure that you do take some time off and look after yourself. But the main thing is to not give up too soon. I've seen researchers who just hack for a little while and then they give up. It's when it comes to hacking, take the website at face value. Literally, take it at face value and consider what the developers thought. But this talk isn't about hacking, and I don't want to get off track, which I always seem to do. So, lastly, make friends in the bug bounty community. Literally follow people all over Twitter, reach out to them, join their Discords, talk to them, engage with them. There's lots and lots out there. There's lots of Ask Me Anythings. For example, Silly Daddy on Twitter, he does Ask Me Anythings, where you can ask people anything literally you want. They respond to you, get your questions answered. Engage, make friends. There are so many awesome people in the community, right? And you will make friends for life. I've made so many friends for life that, do you know what I mean? I'm never ever going to forget the times that we've had, for example, at live events with Ben, the Harmsec, the Homie, Doggy G, meeting Franz Rosen for the first time. I mean, I see him on Twitter and followed him, and I was like, whoa, the stuff he's finding is really cool. How is he finding this? But I always thought, if they can do it, so can you. Yes, if you're following these people, some people on Twitter, you may see like, oh, they're just sharing bounty amounts. Now, that can either get you motivated. Well, okay, brilliant, nice. You're finding some good stuff. It's entirely up to you how you view them. Personally, I like it when a little write-up comes with it as well, because it can be like, okay, nice. That's cool finding and a very nice bounty. But obviously, I understand people can't. But yeah, let's say follow these people, see what everyone else is doing, and I also, little plug, I mean, it's completely free, but if you visit bugbountyhunter.com/public programs, you'll also see it on the header bar on bugbountyhunter.com. Then you can actually see which programs are receiving activity on HackerOne, which are public. For example, look at the Elastic program. You can see since they launched, their last 90-day count has rocketed, and so has the John Deere program, for example, because, well, people find it interesting. They want to have a little look at John Deere's thing. It's something that people are like, oh, I didn't expect them to run a program. But potentially, it says to you that people are having a good time at Elastic, and people are continuing to report, and things are going really well, and maybe there's lots for you to play with. So go have a little look, see what people are finding, and yeah. So, a few things that if I could go back in time that I wish I knew and could change as such with my bug bounty experience. One would be to remain a bit more calmer as such. I got a bit annoyed in the past when I don't feel like my report was handled correctly. It kind of burnt me a little bit. Whereas I look back and I should have just been like, okay, it is what it is, and carried on hacking or potentially moved to another program and just taken a little break. Yeah, I just wish I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I just wish I could do that. Two would be looking back at some of my old reports is not shown enough impact and explaining to the company in clear detail why I believe this is an issue and why they should get it fixed. Which leads me on to say that I felt like sometimes I was expecting too much as such, whereas now I've got to know some companies and things like that, and time's gone on, I know that a lot of times a lot of people at the receiving end aren't up to complete speed when it comes to like web security. Person who wrote this code doesn't work anymore and they're struggling to work out who owns this code and is going to get things fixed, and that's why there's delays and things like that. So I wish that I didn't kind of expect too much as such, and it was more of I mean, they have these we're going to reply to you within 7 days, and do you know what I mean, the expectations and things get set, whereas it should have been more of a take it at face value. Obviously, if it's 4 months, for example, then yeah, do you know what I mean? It's you're not going to be happy. But if it's been 2 weeks, then it's fine. Relax. You don't need to ask for an update and things like that. Give them some time. Obviously, if it's been 2 months and what you've reported is a high, so if it's a low bug, I get it. You want to get paid for your bug and things like that, but companies prioritize the higher priority bugs, obviously, because I mean they have more impact. But they do and will pay you for those issues. Just give them a bit of time. And that goes back to what I've said in the past, doesn't it? When it comes to communication, if the company doesn't really communicate with you and you feel like you're talking to a brick wall, then do you really want to continue doing that? Remember, you're the boss, and see companies as your clients. They're joining your company. Do you want to keep this company on as a client? You don't have to fire them. You just stop reporting bugs to them. And another thing is not explaining the repo steps enough. So I guess I get that again goes to expecting too much and thinking I've reported this bug to this company, they're going to fully understand how things work. But again, things change at companies. Bigger the company, more that can potentially go wrong with old code and not knowing who owns things, not being able to communicate with teams. Things were outsourced, third party owned this, things like that. But not explaining to the company or not explaining the report clear enough repo steps and how to actually do this. And I actually wish I added a bit more video proof of concepts on a lot of my old reports, because I feel like, I mean, they was requested a lot of the times. I just feel like it would have helped things. But that goes to me saying, doesn't it, the whole idea of bug bounties and vulnerability disclosure programs is they're asking the world, if you find an issue, then you can report it to us. Whereas when you actually do report it to them, a lot of people who report them to them don't have qualifications, experience, they're not pen testers, don't know how to write reports, so they just write what they want to write. But over experience and time, you pick up how you meant to do things. So one key thing is making sure that you do write clear enough reports, what the issue is, and evidence, screenshots, video proof of concepts. So yeah, overall though, I enjoy bug bounties. I've taken some time off because, I mean, I see Mongo bug and that at the top of the leaderboards. I've stuck to one programs. I've had a good time. I've made so many friends, had some live events, and I've had a lot of people ask me, well, I want to be able to do this and things like that. So that's why I actually built like Bug Bounty Hunter. And we've got some cool things in the work again to help some hunters, because I want people to be able to, follow in the footsteps, learn how to do this, and learn how to be a bug bounty hunter as such, because there's thousands of programs out there. I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon, because they have so much value for companies in the sense, especially if they're executed correctly and you engage with the hacker community, because there are so many talented people across the entire world of all different race, gender, religion, everything. different hair colors, different tattoos. Everyone hacks in different places. Some people hack in their beds. Some people have office setups. Some people have hack on laptops. But there's so many talented people out there who can find some very interesting vulnerabilities on your website. You may expose some subdomain all of a sudden that you're not meant to. They'll tell you straight away because they have the tools running. So yeah, if bug bounties are executed correctly, they are absolutely amazing. So take the bad with the good with the bad. Set your goals, write notes, and enjoy yourself. But the main thing is you need to get back to hacking, because I've given you some advice. Smile and be happy, because life is beautiful and so are you. I hope you're safe and well, and take care. Be safe.